Hi class. So for today's assignment, we were supposed to talk about like wellness and impairment, and we were supposed to look at some case studies of cases that were counselors who were disciplined by the board. And for me, I wasn't able to find Illinois, so I looked into Louisiana, and some of the common reasons that I found that were taken against counselors. I read 10 different cases, and out of the 10, 8 of the cases were counselors who had entered into an intimate relationship with a former client, or actually a current client. Another case I read was about a counselor who had disclosed confidential information when they were not supposed to. And another counselor had practiced counseling without their license. So whenever I read through these, I was actually quite shocked that out of the 10, it was mainly counselors who had entered into an intimate relationship. And so that kind of, for me, being newly married and entering into this field, that kind of makes me think like, okay, before I even enter in, I need to have like my guardrails up, and I need to like protect not only my client but also like my marriage between me and my husband. So I just found that really surprising. We were also supposed to talk about how like lack of self-care can result in impairment. And so for me, I think whenever you're not really checking your emotions and having that regular reflection and kind of like meditation and see just where you're at, it could result in like you emotionally distancing yourself from your profession, and it can cause habit changes like being tardy or being absent, having poor health habits, as well as just like changing your emotion, being more depressed, being more anxious. So I think that whenever you're not checking in with yourself, or even having like an accountability partner to help check in with you, that can result in impairment. And the ACA Codes of Ethics says in Code C2G that counselors should monitor signs of impairment from anything that could be physical, mental, or emotional, and that if they see that they've become impaired, they need to refrain themselves from counseling, and that they should seek assistance, whether it's from a supervisor, whether they go into counseling themselves, that they either need to limit, suspend, or even terminate themselves from the profession until they can safely resume, because that's our biggest goal, is just providing a safe space for our clients. And so for me, the question that kind of brought to my mind as I was reading through all of this was, what are some tips that I can do that can prevent me from becoming impaired in the future? Thanks.